Thank you so much for joining us here at 6 a.m. I'm Neda Iranpour.
And I'm Evan Irani in for Eric Connor. We want to get to that latest headline here. These numbers just coming into our newsroom. Consumer prices increased 8.5% in July compared to the same time last year. That's still high, but is lower than the 4-decade high of 9.1% we saw in June. One factor for the slowdown is falling gas prices. However, prices are still going up for other goods and services. We are working for you to put those numbers into perspective. A financial expert is going to join us coming up at 6:30 to talk about this. But again, those numbers are down now from the month of June. July's numbers coming in at 8.5% inflation as opposed to 9.1%. So a small slowdown there. Neda?
And now on to another top story we're covering here this morning. The county is moving forward with plans to try and fight the spread of monkeypox. The board unanimously approved a state of emergency in response to this outbreak. And now CBS 8's Dana Marie McNichol, she's joining us live right outside the county administration building to explain what this state of emergency now means for San Diego. Good morning.
Good morning, Neda and Evan. Well, this move means ramping up vaccination efforts at a local level. Calling for a state of emergency allows the county to ask for assistance and funding from the state of California.
Everyone knows the county does not have a vaccine box in the basement. We just aren't plugging in. We are dependent upon the federal government to send the state vaccines, and we continue to advocate.
Now, we just heard from board chair Nathan Fletcher, who made it clear, like the rest of the nation, there's a crucial shortage of the monkeypox vaccine here in San Diego. Another topic covered in that meeting was making it clear that the county is committed to reducing stigmas to the LGBTQ population. Now, there have been 104 confirmed or probable cases of monkeypox throughout the county so far. All of those cases have been in men, and 86 of them identify as either gay or bisexual, although public health leaders press that this virus is not just isolated to those groups. Monkeypox is generally spread through intimate skin-to-skin contact and can also be transmitted through sexual intercourse. Blisters, rashes, fever, and fatigue are possible symptoms which may precede rash or scabs. Now, if you're looking to learn a little bit more about this, county health leaders plan to hold a virtual town hall on monkeypox Thursday at 6 p.m. So that would be a great resource for you to learn more about those vaccination efforts. Also, any further updates you could always find on CBS8.com. I'm Dana Marie McNichol coming to you live from the County Administration Building.
Dana Marie, thank you for that. And this morning, U.S. health officials are looking for ways to increase the supply of the monkeypox vaccine. The FDA says it can now be injected between skin layers instead of below the skin. That's a move that requires a fifth of the normal vaccine dose. Researchers say the reduced amount is just as effective. Meantime, public health professionals and some lawmakers say California can do better to fight this outbreak. The state's Select Committee on Monkeypox held its first hearing yesterday. They discussed issues that need to improve, like testing, paid sick leave, and more telehealth options. Speakers also mentioned giving full approval to a medication that helps patients who are in pain.
I ended up in the ER 3 times over the course of 4.5 days. Didn't matter whether I was sitting, standing, or lying down, the pain was off the charts.
Yeah, that does not sound like a nice time, of course. Very much tough for many people who got monkeypox. The state epidemiologist, says there are 300,000 to 400,000 people here in California that are at risk of experiencing that same type of pain.
This morning, former President Trump will be questioned under oath over his real estate deals. This is related to the New York Attorney General's civil investigation into the Trump Organization's finances. It involves allegations that Trump's company misstated the value of assets like golf courses and skyscrapers, misleading lenders and tax authorities. Meantime, this morning, Republican lawmakers are coming out in support of former President Trump after the FBI searched his Florida estate.
You've never done this to a former president. So if this was going to be the case, shouldn't the Attorney General lay out to the American people today? Shouldn't that have been the very first thing, explaining why?
Two sources told CBS News that investigators seized boxes and paper documents as part of an investigation into Trump's handling of White House records after he left office. The documents are believed to contain some classified information.
And now starting today, people living in their cars have this place, a safe place rather, to park overnight in East County. So for months, this is what it looked like, the area right along Magnolia Avenue outside El Cajon. It was overrun with these homeless encampments, a lot of people living there on the street and in tents. And that was before the county cleared those tents and cleaned up the area. So now this new parking lot will have 17 spaces, restrooms, hand washing stations, and some business owners tell us they do not think that will solve any problems, but some local leaders disagree.
This is a good thing. It's not going to ruin your property values. And we can't just turn our backs on some of our most vulnerable citizens.
You just heard from the deputy mayor of the city of El Cajon. There are rules for this new safe lot in El Cajon. People do have to register to be able to stay there. Drugs and alcohol will not be allowed. There will also be security 24/7 and services like mental health counseling and crisis management. And now this morning, families using EBT debit cards, they're being warned to keep their information and those cards safe because there's been a spike in scams. In fact, a family in Chula Vista says nearly all the money they needed to provide for their children was stolen. CBS 8's Regina Urita met the family who says they're struggling to make ends meet.
I just want this nightmare to end. I just want the county to see that this is not a game. This is not a joke.
A couple in Chula Vista say they have been living a nightmare. Several weeks ago, Medina went to the grocery store and purchased food items for her 4 girls and her husband using her EBT card. But when she came home and checked her account, Cynthia noticed every single dime in her account had been withdrawn from somewhere in Mission Valley. This left her with only 91 cents to feed her family for the next month.
All these things just start rolling as a mom, you know, you start thinking like, when am I going to feed them? What am I going to change them with?
The Medina say they believe the suspect might have cloned the debit card at the last grocery store she visited.
It had to be at the cashier. It must have been something with a camera because it had our PIN.
Chula Vista Police Department say they're dealing with over 50 active cases that involve EBT scams.
If you were to take last year's total number of our calls for service that we had related to this, it was 23, as compared to right now we're at 164 calls for service.
Medina also says Chula Vista Police took 5 days to file a police report because of the high number of cases they're receiving. That report was needed to start their case with the San Diego County Health and Human Services Agency to help return their benefits. But now the county is saying it will take 25 days. That's 25 days where Medina will have to figure out how to feed her family with no money in her bank account.
Regina Urita, CBS 8.
Now, Fernando Medina recently had back surgery, is still recovering. Right now, they're getting help from some family members, but have also started a GoFundMe account. We have a link at cbs8.com. And here's what police say to do to protect your EBT funds. Here's some advice for you. Always check your surroundings. Try to avoid showing your PIN number to anybody. And then file a police report if you do have any money taken or notice anything suspicious. All right, let's get a check of that forecast. That sunrise has been so pretty.
Oh my gosh.
All the cameras showing off again.
Amazing. Yeah, really showing off in San Diego as we kick off your Wednesday morning. Happy Wednesday to you. Fewer clouds on the horizon. Not much of a marine layer intact this morning. Fewer expectations of showers and thunderstorms by the afternoon. That means we are drying out countywide. Lower humidity values will be calming down in terms of the wet weather that was brought to us for Monday and part of Tuesday as well. Here's what we have as far as your forecast goes for today. Mid 70-degree temperatures, even some upper 70s. There's the expectation that closer to downtown San Diego will make it into the low 80s, 91 inland, mid 80s for your mountains, and 108 degrees out there for your desert. So here's what we see on our satellite radar imagery. So far, we've only picked up on a few clouds off toward Imperial County. Not much going on in San Diego itself. Keep in mind, it has been a warm last couple of days. I mean, here's the last 14 days as a whole, and you can see the upper 70s and low 80s that we've flirted with. And then as of about Saturday, we kicked off this warming trend that lasted all the way through Tuesday. Mid 80-degree temperatures on Tuesday. Looks like today we're going for the low 80s out there. Thank you to Ron for sending this photo in. Beautiful sunset photo from last night. Sunrise Highway there. And you can see on display those mid-level clouds that have joined us for the last several afternoon and evening hours. So Get outside, enjoy the beautiful start to the day today. You can see what those forecast highs look like. 87 for Mira Mesa this afternoon. 93, going to be hot out there for Santee and El Cajon, and 88 for La Mesa. Looking up the coastline, we've got temperatures mostly in the upper 70s and low 80s out there along your coast. 83 at Palomar Mountain and 90 for Poway. Let's take a look at what's going on in traffic this morning. So far, things have actually stayed pretty light on the roads. We don't see any major crashes or collisions, but I do want to take you to just one that popped up in the Escondido area. This is at Bear Valley Parkway. There's a crash on Bear Valley Parkway at El Dorado Drive. No major backups in the area. We'll keep you up to date if we see any changes here. Netta?
Well, this morning, an exciting day for some students, or maybe not for others, but families in a few more school districts are getting their kids ready to return to the classroom. Today, the first day of school for students enrolled in districts like La Mesa, Spring Valley School District, and Warner Unified. So good luck to everybody on your first day. Make it a great start to the school year.